All right, good afternoon, everybody. A pleasure to be here. Hopefully, most of you can understand this outrageous accent. I'll try my best. But it's a pleasure to be here at Dayton 2024. And on behalf of the United Kingdom WRTC organizing committee, I'm honored to be speaking to you about this project. First of all, I'd like to just express sincere gratitude for all of the support that we've received so far. And it's amazing to think that in just 2 years' time, we'll be getting ready to put on the project for real. So if you haven't already seen us, please stop by our booth, and we would be more than happy to have a conversation. So I'll talk through a few slides here just to give you an update on the team, how things are going, and a little bit about some of our objectives, and hopefully answer maybe some question marks that you may have. Of course, we all, I think, in this room will understand WRTC. We're going to be hosting the Olympics of Amateur Radio Contesting, where many operators around the world will be working hard over the next 18 or so months to qualify and represent their qualification areas. And the teams, we will continue with 2 operator teams, and they will be, of course, coming to the UK to take part in where we remove a number of the variables that we often see in amateur radio contesting. And by that we mean geographic similarities, equipment and antenna similarities to generate as much of a level playing field as we possibly can. So it really is all about operator skill and teamwork between these 2 operators that will give them the edge and will lead to a gold medal. Just to recap some of the goals of WRTC, we endeavour to publicise this fantastic hobby of radio sport that we all love to the audience both within and outside of amateur radio, and actually within it, we all get it, we all love it. The key piece actually for us is to try and push the outside of the hobby, to generate a foundation for the future of not only WRTC, but contesting and more generally in ham radio. We will be continuing the tradition of facilitating an international gathering of radio sport participants, whether they be competing or coming along to enjoy the experience. To promote these advances in technology that we've seen more recently in terms of more advanced operating techniques, the real-time scoring and real-time logging, we're hoping to incorporate that and provide something that will help us with our adjudication process, but also to reach out to the amateur radio community around the world for those that will not be there in person. We want to push hard on spectator viewing and education, and by that we mean having youngsters, schools come and visit and sharing the experience and getting excited about the Olympics of ham radio. Log checking and reporting, of course, this puts it to the full test where we need to be turning around the results within 24 hours. So the latest in techniques will emerge at the event, and we'll be calling on the skills and experience of those that make it happen. Operator ranking and comparison, of course, as well. And I mentioned the youth aspect, and that's something that we feel very passionate about, and we'll be pushing that hard. We have youth teams that will be qualifying, as well as giving those youngsters on the air members and also other youth members to come to the UK and actually participate unofficially in WRTC from our headquarters venue. And WRTC provides an opportunity to give those in regions underrepresented in radio sport the opportunity to showcase their skills. The 20-year vision, as set out by the sanctioning committee, is to make WRTC an international premier radio sport event, and we'll be doing all we can to work towards that goal. A little bit on the history. We will be the 10th WRTC, and there is a big history. It all started in Seattle in 1990, nearly 35 years ago, And many people in this room will remember that experience. I'm not one of them, but it was a fantastic one, so I hear, and it's grown, and we've learned techniques since then. Some of the more recent WRTCs, such as Russia, Boston, Germany, and Italy, introduced more that level playing field aspect. I was really pleased to be a competitor in 2014 at Boston, and what an amazing experience that was. And I had the bug from Boston, and thank you to everybody that contributed to that event, because that was a real success. And that continued on with the wonderful Germany event, and more recently with Italy last year. Quickly, this is the organizing committee, and we have many sub-teams that we're working with, a wonderful advisory committee that help guide us and help us with our challenges. And we also talk regularly with the sanctioning committee and primarily with Doug, but with others too. And we're pushing very hard on the fundraising. Of course, this program is about $500,000 to execute, and therefore we have a very effective and recently established North American fundraising team led by Scott Wright, Kilo Zero Mike Delta. The qualifying contest, we now have 5 contests complete, with the 2 CQ Worldwides last year, and more recently the 2 ARRL contests and WPX Phone. We have the results with the WRTC point rankings for the first 2 CQ Worldwides, and the WPX sideband will soon be updated. And all of those WRTC rankings by qualification area and country are available on the WRTC 2026 website. But as you can see, there is a distribution of points available for these contests. The 1,000 point contests are not always the ones that give you the most opportunity to gain points, because of course it very much depends on other activity from your qualification area, and also the capabilities of you as an operator and your station, as well as propagation at certain times of the year. So there are many factors to consider when planning your journey to WRTC. And of course, we had to scale back a little bit on the number of qualifying events, seeing as we have 3 years between Italy and the UK, as opposed to the standard 4 years. And that presents other challenges as well. For the category weightings, we have a spread, but I suppose some of the more significant changes are the increase to 0.95 for the single-op low-power category. And the reason that we chose to do that was to try and bring it a little bit closer to the actual operating conditions of WRTC, and that it's a 100-watt contest. And also the introduction of a multi-2 low-power category in the IARU contest. And we're trying to provide an environment that simulates the WRTC experience, being 100 watts multi-2 in IARU. We have 50 teams, which are made up of 42 traditional qualifying teams, 1 wild card, where we will look at somebody that perhaps didn't quite qualify, but they did a really good job. And then the previous champions will be invited back, so that's VE3DZ and UW7LL. They'll be coming back. They can relax for the next 2 years. And then we have 4 youth teams and 2 sponsored teams. For the qualifying areas, there was a lot of work that went in, and we were very clear that we had to be data-driven on any changes that we made to the qualifying areas and the number of teams in those areas. And we did extensive analysis of logs, activity from various countries and qualification areas. We made a few adjustments. Of course, we had to consider that we were scaling back on the total number of teams, and we had to distribute that reduction sensibly across the entire world. We ended up with a spread across the continents. Referees, we will have referees again, of course, and they will be briefed and made clear what is acceptable, what isn't acceptable. We will launch our application process for referees in 2025, so stay tuned. I know there's a lot of interest in that, and I'm sure that we will need 50 referees, and we want to try and get people from all over the world, and it's a real tough job, the referee, sitting there listening to two stations for 24 hours, potentially mixed mode, 1 in each ear. And so my hat off to those referees, and thank you in advance. Youth, there are 3 aspects to youth. Of course, we have the 4 youth teams. I'm working with G4DJX, who is headmaster of 7 secondary schools, high schools in the UK, and we will be having school visits to WRTC and also our National Radio Centre in the UK, which is actually will be pretty close to our HQ venue. And we will see them through after WRTC to gain their foundation license. And Philip, DK6 Sierra Papa, is helping us, and he will be managing the youth aspect at the headquarters, where we will have YOTA operators come to the UK and run the exact same antennas, the exact same station conditions in the WRTC contest to hopefully give them some experience, unofficially, but give them some experience in the WRTC experience to hopefully have them back in 2030. We need to find 55 sites, 5 spare sites, and we'll be conducting RF and noise analysis at those sites across the southeast of the UK in the area of East Anglia, which is very flat terrain in these dark shaded red areas. The counties are Norfolk and Suffolk. We will hope to cluster as many of these sites as possible to help with logistics and also the utilisation of our volunteers. So ideally we would need 500 metres separation between the stations, which we can get away with. Barefoot stations, just 100 watts. That should be perfectly fine for separation. And we'll be looking at a variety of different locations, such as people's backyards, orchards, farmland, and there's a lot of farmland in the southeast of the UK, and also decommissioned military bases, airfields, that kind of thing. This is a typical site. This is from Russia. We will follow the same approach with a 7-element tri-band Yagi, 2 on 20, 2 on 15, 3 on 10. And we will be operating from tents, portable style, with a support team for the site. These are some snaps from previous WRTCs from 2002, where it was in existing QTHs, existing shacks. It then went to portable tent approach in Russia in 2010. That's when it changed. And then in 2014, wonderful experience. And the great thing about WRTC is you not only see amazing operator skill, but also these tremendous innovations that seem to emerge on the design of the station. And you can see on the right-hand side here, Crassi and YT6A switching unit in a Peli case. These wonderful designs come out, and it's really amazing to witness. We will be doing extensive site testing. We'll run the IARU contest with a number of stations next year in 2025. We will be looking at the RBN and these wonderful resources that we have access to try and discard any that are very loud or very weak. The logs will be published from that effort in 2025 to allow potential contesters to review those logs and gain familiarity with the propagation that they may otherwise not be familiar with from the UK. And as I said, we will be removing any that stand out from those reports. The HQ venue, we'd be pleased to hear, and I'm proud to say that we have selected an HQ venue. We have signed the contract with that venue, and we are building the plan with them. I feel very confident that we've found the correct venue. It was amazing. Last year, we were speaking to a potential venue that we got very advanced with, and then they actually turned around and checked the diary and said, oh, we already have a booking for the second weekend of July 2026. And we were gobsmacked that was the case, but it was actually graduation season, so that's why. But we have, we're building the plans with the headquarters. We have a live streaming team, a tech team being developed with David, G7URP, and Tammy, M0 Tango Charlie, and they will be with us for the journey the whole week, providing live streaming online. The schedule for the event follows, I guess, a pretty traditional approach. We will be, as I said, having 2 on-site stations, exactly the same as the WRTC stations, one for one for visitors to operate, and one purely dedicated for youth to generate future interest. We will also have W1VE setting up a number of remote stations for visitors to operate from the venue. It's all about socializing and having fun, and I'm confident we can promise that. We will have an Olympic-style opening and closing ceremony, and we will party. Of course, we'll have the contest, and then the log checking and adjudication process will be slick, and we have people lined up to help us with that process. and then we'll have the official closing ceremony with the awards presentation. Live scoring and live logs, we hope to do that, and we are talking to people at the moment to help us put the motions in place for that, and we hope that we can do as good a job as what the Italians did on this. It was absolutely fantastic to have the online presence that they had and the technology flowing through, the QSOs coming up seconds after they took place. It was really good to see, and the live scoreboard was great fun. Volunteers, of course, is absolutely fundamental for us, and I've been really warmed by the number of North American friends that have been saying they're coming to the UK in July 26 and offering their services, and we are immensely grateful for that. WRTC does not happen without volunteers. It was one of our major concerns at the beginning before submitting a bid to the sanctioning committee, and we're really pleased with the uptake of that. But there are a whole load of jobs to perform, from building stations, manning stations, site managers, helping with logistics and IT back at the headquarters, and then ferrying people to and from their sites as drivers. So there's a whole raft of things. Please come and see me if you're interested. Fundraising, we are well underway with our fundraising campaign. We have corporate sponsors, radio clubs and organizations. If any of you are members of radio clubs and you would like a committee member of WRTC to present and to your radio club remote through Zoom, even if it's 3 a.m. in the morning in the UK, it's no problem. We will come on, we will present to you. Please come and see me. We will organize it. We'll be more than happy to do that. Individual sponsors, we have a number of individuals coming forward, and we're immensely grateful for any contributions. The sponsored teams, we have 2 sponsored teams planned. That may grow, we're not sure. We have to see how the fundraising goes, but at the moment we have 2. And the tent sponsorship program has been launched. I'll show a slide on that shortly. We'll be running raffles. There is one tonight at the contest dinner. And auctions, and of course we're left with an immense amount of hardware at the end of the project, which we can offer for donations. We have our Morse keys developed by Phil CT1 ILT, which I know many of you now have, and we're grateful for that. They can be ordered from the website. And we also now have our merchandise available on the website. Hoodies, sweaters, T-shirts, mugs. Go there for your WRTC branded goods. And all of those items, a contribution goes to WRTC as well. Oh, excuse me for that. I don't know how that got there, but this is our coin program, and we're offering a coin for, actually through Dayton, $100 for the bronze coin, and a number of you have that, and we're grateful for your contribution. And then next year we'll have the silver coin and the gold coin available in 2026. Again, come and see me. This is where that image ended up. So this is the tent sponsor program, which we launched a couple of weeks ago now, and we welcome any radio club, organization, or even individual to sponsor a tent for $1,500, and we have 50 tents already. Quite a number of those have been reserved, and we're very grateful for that. Again, come and see me if you or your radio club is interested in sponsoring a tent. So far, we have a number of sponsors on board, commercial sponsors and radio clubs, and we're extremely grateful for your support. And also, individuals, there are too many to list on here, but they're all on the website. Thank you very much indeed. Okay, hopefully that's okay, Doug, time-wise. WRTC2026.org is the website. We're all over social media. We're very passionate about communicating and giving regular updates. If you're not already following us and you would like to, please search for us. If there are any questions to field now, I'll take them. Thank you.